Okay, so good afternoon and welcome to our Career Corner for today. Today we are being joined by Casson Zabrowski, and the career that he is going to talk about is firefighting. So welcome, Casson. We're happy to have you. Will you please tell us a little bit about yourself and about the career that you are in?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Shay. I appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Caston Zabrowski, 44 years old, born and raised here in Colorado. Went to college at the University of Colorado in Boulder. I got a degree in marketing and management and went from there and got a job in the financial world, which I did for about 5 years. Realized that the office work was not for me, so started talking to some friends and looking at some different things, and ended up getting in to firefighting and got hired on with West Metro Fire in 2008. So I have been there since then and have been a firefighter up until about 2 weeks ago when I was promoted to lieutenant there at West Metro Fire. So that is kind of a brief bio of me and where we're at currently.
Very nice. Thank you for that. So you sort of explained this already, but would you like to go in a little more detail about like how or why you chose firefighting?
Definitely. Yeah, again, I did touch on it a little bit beforehand, kind of getting a taste in the financial world and just realizing that sitting behind a computer just wasn't for me. It was a great company, but just wasn't fitting with my personality. So, like I said, I started talking to some friends, one in particular that works for Aurora Fire, and he's like, man, you got to got into this career. And so started exploring it a little bit and figuring out a little bit more what it's about, and knew it was a perfect fit for me. It's an active job, something that doing something different every day, obviously helping people in the community and all the different things that we do as a fire service. So a lot of those different things were kind of what pushed me in that direction, for sure, and just trying to kind of do a better fit for me personally.
Mhm. Very nice. So what sort of education after high school did you need to receive, or training or anything for firefighting?
Sure. The biggest thing is you have to be a college, or excuse me, a high school graduate or equivalent, and then you also, for most departments, but with West Metro in particular, you do have to be an EMT basic before getting hired on. Like I said, I had a degree from CU there in Boulder, which wasn't a requirement for me getting hired on. But if I continue to promote and want to get to the upper ranks, chief in particular, you are required to have at least a bachelor's at that point. And I think actually maybe for the chief position, having a master's degree. So depending on where you want to be in the fire service, you don't necessarily have to have a college education, but it'll definitely help down the line. But high school diploma for sure. And then most departments, like I said, require that EMT basic certification before getting hired on.
Very nice. And I'm gonna go slightly off our script here, but I know that you went to you did Fire Academy. Would you like to speak a little bit to that and sort of what that entailed?
Definitely, and it's a different option for some people. For me in particular, getting hired on with West Metro or some of the bigger organizations throughout the Denver metro area, if you do get hired on, they'll send you through the department that you get hired on through will send you through their own academy because they want to teach you the way that they do things specifically and get you kind of dialed in and ready to go. So our academy was a 16-week academy, and you're kind of a mixed bag in between classroom stuff where you're taking tests, reading books, all of that stuff, kind of back to the school days. And then the other half of that is on the drill ground training, fighting fire, throwing ladders, pulling hose, all of those things. So that is a requirement. Again, yeah, once you get hired on, you will go through that 16-week academy. The other option for some people, if you are trying to get on maybe with some of the smaller departments, you could actually go through and get a fire science degree and actually kind of go through an academy with like Red Rocks, for example, or
Mhm.
ACC, or some of those other colleges, and you'll go through a kind of general fire academy that will last and will kind of allow you to get that certification. So when you do get hired on, because those smaller departments, a lot of them don't have the time and or the
Mhm.
money to do their own academy.
Yep.
So they want people to come in with
Mhm.
those certifications already to go, ready to go. So depending on what avenue you're looking for,
Mhm.
that gives you a couple different options for what to expect for the fire academy.
Very nice. And then how often are you guys like retraining and that kind of thing? Are you guys training, like all the time, or is there like you have to be retrained every month, or what is that process?
So a couple different things that we do. We have physical tests that we have to take every year. So we have two different tests that we have to take in order to kind of stay online and employed. So those are just physical, running and doing some stuff down at the drill grounds. And so the physical side of it, you have to kind of keep up with, just to maintain your status as a firefighter. But we're always training. We've got a very nice training facility down right at Kipling and 285, and so we're down there all the time doing big training exercises, or we could even go down there if we want, just as our station, and just go down there and train. And then because a lot of what we do is medical versus fire, we have once a month, we have a medical or an EMS video conference, and we'll have one of our doctors that'll come on, and for roughly 1 to 2 hours, they'll kind of go over some of the cases that we've ran, or just any of that stuff to kind of keep our EMT and or paramedic skills up, and so that's a constant, at least once a month thing. So always something going on for trainings and trying to keep those hours up, because we are required to get a certain number of hours of CEs. I can't even think of the term there, but in order to continue to keep your EMT or paramedic license, you have to have a certain number of skill hours, and they provide those at the department with those monthly EMS training videos.
Oh, very nice. That's awesome. What would you say is some of your favorite things about your job?
Again, it really fits my personality, just being active and just being out and about doing stuff, whether it's trainings or going out on calls, and just being with the crew at the station. All of that
Mhm.
just really fits my personality. Obviously, a huge piece of that is helping the citizens of our community
Mhm.
on calls. If we're going out on somebody, most likely it's one of their worst days, if not their worst day. So being able to come in and being thrown into that environment and being able to help that person out, either get the fire out at their house if that
Yeah.
happens to be it, or help them get to the hospital via one of our ambulances, or whatever the situation is.
Mhm.
Just being that person to be able to get in there and help out is truly satisfying. And like I said, working with the crew and being tight with them is great. Our schedule is fantastic as well. We work a 48-hour schedule, so we work 48 hours straight, and then we're off 4 days after that. So
Okay.
it's a huge benefit
Yeah.
as well. To we work hard, but we get a lot of time off to be able to kind of decompress from those hours and calls. So a lot of positives, and it's a fantastic career.
Very nice. And what would you say are some of the difficult things about your career?
Yeah, one of the hardest things, and I think this would probably be the same answer for a majority of the firefighters that you talked about across the country, to be honest with you, is really any calls that we have that involve children, especially obviously young children. But I
Mhm.
have two children at home, 12 and a 10-year-old. But especially when they were young and babies, and we would get a call on a really sick kid, or abuse or something like that.
Mhm.
Those calls rip your heart out and are
Yeah.
really difficult. Fortunately for us and for the kids and everybody else involved, those are few and far between, which is awesome. But when they do come, they normally sting, because most of the people at, the firehouses have
Mm-hmm.
families, and so it
Yep.
really hits close to home. So that is, yeah, by far the most difficult thing to deal with.
Definitely. That does sound very difficult. What does the station and your who you work for, what do they offer for like the afterwards of when you have something like that happen, from decompressing from that kind of stuff? What's offered for that?
The department does an unbelievable job with providing resources for that. So we have what's called peer support, which are firefighters and officers, really at any rank, that volunteer and they go through additional training, and then they're always on call. And so we have their numbers available. So
Mm-hmm.
you could go down the list if you already have a relationship with somebody, or you just want to talk to somebody
Mm-hmm.
completely random. You could just, day or night, anytime, you could call one of those people and say, hey, we had a horrible call, let's
Mm-hmm.
talk. And so that is one of the resources that we have. And then outside, we have some agencies that are psychologists that we could schedule, and is covered by our insurance. And so if you need to go sit down and meet with them
Mm-hmm.
on your day off or whatever it is, and get some additional counseling, that is available to us as well. So, and then, really, the biggest support thing that we have is each other. We come back to the
Mm-hmm.
firehouse after a call like that, and you just kind of hash through it. And so everybody is, your first line of defense for
Yeah.
support, and just being able to kind of talk through it. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
having a hard time through it. So the biggest thing is just being able to talk to the people in the station. But like I said, there's a lot of different resources available to us if that doesn't work, or somebody just doesn't feel comfortable talking to the
Mm-hmm.
crew. Like the peer support or that outside counseling that we have are great resources, and guys and gals use them a lot, because it's
Yeah.
very, very helpful.
That is awesome. That's really, really neat that they offer that and that it's covered through insurance, because I know a lot of places it's not. So that's awesome.
Yes.
So aside from money, what else does this job provide for you? So do you feel like you're making a difference? Are you providing a place for people to feel comfortable, that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of talked about it a little bit beforehand, but yeah, definitely, it's an extremely satisfying and an extremely rewarding career. You feel like you're really able to influence people
Mm-hmm.
in a positive manner. So like I said before, we're normally, when we show up, it's somebody's worst day. And so for you to
Mm-hmm.
go in, be professional, have a good attitude, and be able to help these people with whatever it is. Like I said, we go on a wide variety of different things, and so being able to step in is huge. And it just makes you feel really good to be able to help these people out, help the citizens out, and do whatever you can to fix or make their situation right. So that is by far the biggest thing. The most rewarding thing out of that career is getting to see those faces, and the cool thing is, the best thing is when some of the people that we've either taken to the hospital, or after a fire or a bad car accident or something like that, when they get out of the hospital, or when they'll come by the station,
Oh,
and they'll bring cookies or ice
yeah.
cream or something like that. But seeing them, and out of that element of what we
Mm-hmm.
originally saw, that whatever
Yep.
the call was, and for them to come back and say thank you, and for us to be able to talk to them and all of that, it warms your heart. And you're like, man,
Yep.
this is why we do what we do, when something
Absolutely.
like that happens. So that is truly the most rewarding thing.
Yep. That's beautiful. That is awesome. What would, or do you know what the salary range for this career is?
I do, yes. So what happens when you get hired on with West Metro, or really any other organization, but I'll speak with West Metro because that's what I know, obviously. You start what we call an apprenticeship program. So first day of the academy that we talked about, that 16-week academy, you're called a developing firefighter. And at that point, you start out, it's a percentage of what we call first grade firefighter. So that ranges, starts about, I wrote it down here, starts about $60,000 a year.
Oh.
And that's where you start out as that developing firefighter. And then over that 3-year period, you'll slowly start working up in increments until you become what, like I said, what we call a first grade firefighter. And then that base salary for that is $87,000 a
Oh,
year.
okay.
And that's if you're an EMT basic firefighter. And then West Metro, we require you to go to paramedic school. And so that's obviously an additional certification and time that West Metro pays for, but you are offline for 6 months. But when you do come out of that and you pass all of your skills and your field instruction and everything, you do get an additional $6,000 for being a paramedic. So that jumps that up, doing the quick math, to $93,000 a year for a firefighter paramedic. Obviously, once you continue, or if you continue to promote either to engineer or to lieutenant, captain, chief, those are all obviously additional pay raises as you go up. But that is the kind of how the initial pay structure works up to firefighter, and then when you become a paramedic.
Very nice. That's awesome. So is it pretty generalized in like everywhere that you are a firefighter / paramedic, or some others, or how does that work exactly? I guess in my brain, I always thought you had your firefighters and you had your paramedics, but is that not the case?
Right now, like I said, with most departments, West Metro in particular, we run 70% medical calls, and then 30% are fires, auto accidents, you name it, everything, kind of everything else. And so, and most departments are like that. So with that being said, it benefits the department to have that additional skill of being a paramedic. So like I said, the bigger organizations around the Denver metro area, minus Denver Fire, Denver Fire are not required to be a paramedic, but like South Metro and Boulder and West Metro, obviously, Aurora is heading in that direction now. So most departments are requiring it now. And the nice thing about it is they're requiring it, but they'll also send you to school and pay you for it. So, a lot of people will do it right after they go to EMT school. They're like, I'm just going to keep going and get my paramedic, which is fine, because it, again, will open up some doors for you for some of those smaller departments that, again, don't have the budget to send you. But if you walk up to red, white, and blue, which is in Breckenridge, I think, and say, hey, I'm already a firefighter paramedic, you're going to be a very heavy asset for them, because you've already gone through those schools and they don't have to pay for it. They don't have to take you offline. So, but like I said, majority of the bigger departments are shifting in that direction now, just because it's so much medical that we run out there. It's a huge benefit to the department to have that extra skills.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So is there anything else you would like to share with the students of Weld Central Middle School about your career, or sort of the process that got you there?
Definitely. The biggest thing is, and this is just me speaking from experience on a couple different levels, but find something that you truly love to do. Your life is way too short to just okay, well, this is the job I have. I'm, just gonna, suck it up and do 30 years and just be done. And it's, and I know it's easier said than done, but trying to find that job that you truly, truly love and you truly enjoy going to every day, it makes life and everything so much more enjoyable. Not that I was miserable at my job beforehand, but I just definitely knew I couldn't do it for the next 30 years. But this is a job that, without question, I enjoy. I get up every morning, the mornings that I got to go in, and I'm looking forward to it. While I'm there, it's great. And again, I had the time off to decompress and get ready for the next go around. So like I said, truly find something that you want to do and that you're passionate about, because you'll just be that much more successful doing it that way, and you'll be much happier. And sometimes, just like me, it's a trial and error thing. I thought the business world was where I wanted to be. And like I said, I got on with a great company, but until I did it, I didn't really know, and did it for 5 years, and was like, no,
Mhm.
this isn't gonna work. And so, I had to take a little bit of a gamble of quitting and trying to find something else.
Mhm.
But in the long run, it was definitely worth it. And if you are trying to get into, the firefighting world, it is, unfortunately, it's very, very competitive. And just because of all the things that I'm talking about,
Mhm.
the great pay, the amazing benefits, the time off, working with the crews, and just the career in general, it's a very sought after field. And so when you are trying to get in, like I said, the best thing is just diving into it. Find somebody that you know that is a firefighter, because that is a huge benefit to you, because they could kind of walk you through the steps,
Mhm.
help you with the interview process, help you with the physical testing, all of that stuff. But you definitely need to be prepared. The fact that it's competitive. You can't just walk in and say, "Hey, I want to be a firefighter today." It doesn't work that way. It is a very long process. And so, like I said, the easiest way to get into it is to find somebody that is a firefighter or part of the fire service,
Mhm.
and they could walk you through the steps and get you dialed in, and get you all the information you need, because it's very competitive and tough. So
Very nice. Well, thank you again so much for taking time out of your day to join us. And the students and I here at Weld Central Middle School are very grateful that we got to spend this time with you. So thank you.
thank you, Shaylee, and thank you all for listening. And I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody about this great career. And if it's something that you're interested in, go for it. It's unbelievable. You won't regret it.
Awesome. Thank you, Casson.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.